Welcome to DentonRadio.com, powered in part by Classic of Denton.
Hi, guys. Welcome to the DRC Live. So now our show has a name.
It has a name.
To talk about all things entertainment, news, business, goings-on in Denton. I'm Jenna Duncan. I'm the business reporter and editor over at the Denton Record-Chronicle.
I'm Lucinda Breeding, and I'm the features editor at the Denton Record-Chronicle.
And yeah, our show after 5 episodes finally has a name. Yay! So we're starting off by talking about commencement. It's commencement weekend coming up, which means traffic by the universities is going to be awful. And
it could mean longer lines at your favorite local restaurants.
Yes, I have a note here to say, like, make reservations if you want to go out. If you're planning on celebrating with your family and you haven't done that, I would do that.
Yep, I would too.
I would do that now. I was cruising around. I didn't see any like specialized events. I think winter commencement is always traditionally a lot smaller than our big spring commencements. And that's when the universities really pull out all the stops with like fireworks shows and things like that. So here's a rundown of the commencement overall. So Texas Women's University and University of North Texas are doing commencements on Friday and Saturday this week. So at TWU, there's 2 ceremonies a day at 9 a.m. then 2 p.m. And they will all be in the Kitty McGee Arena.
Yes.
And so over those 4 ceremonies, there's going to be 1,248 graduates walking the stage. And they have parking like signs and reserved for people who are attending these commencement ceremonies. There's no limit on how many people you can bring. So if you know somebody who's graduating, feel free to go park there. But beware that section of Bell Avenue is going to be
it's going to be
challenging to maneuver. Probably that entire time, honestly, probably from like 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So that's great. Another big weekend for them. And then over at the University of North Texas, they have a lot more ceremonies because they do it specifically by the majors. So they have ceremonies starting at 9 a.m. Friday, and the last ceremony on Friday is 7:30 p.m.
Okay.
And they're alternating every few hours from being either at the Murchison or at the Super Pit. So kind of in the same section where you can share that Fouts Fields parking lot, but that whole section along North Texas Boulevard is going to be crazy. And then Saturday is a long day too for UNT graduations. 8 a.m. is the first ceremony, and the last ceremony is 7:30. And at UNT, they are graduating almost 3,000 people with their bachelor's degrees, 2,000, 2,751 with their bachelor's degrees. 526 people with their masters and 82 doctoral students.
Yes. So those doctoral students will be crawling psychically across the stage.
Like slowly in those big robes. And so we also want to talk about a couple of really notable graduates this winter. I keep wanting to say fall, but it's winter.
I know. Yes, it really is. Yeah.
From the fall semester. Okay. So we'll have a story in tomorrow's paper about 19-year-old Noelle Jett. She is going to be UNT's youngest ever doctoral graduate at 19. It makes me,
19.
Can
you imagine having your doctorate at 19? Wow.
It's super impressive. Her doctorate's in educational psychology, and her dissertation was looking at other kids who went to college really early. So there's some study of kids going to college like before they would be the typical age of a high school senior, but it groups all of the age range together. So she had a hypothesis kind of going in thinking like, well, wouldn't the college experience be different for somebody who's 16 and say looks like they could maybe be 18 and can drive themselves to school versus somebody entering when they're 11, 12, 13. She started college at A&M when she was 14 after she had done a year at community college. And had just racked up so many credits. And since her dad travels a lot for work, her and her mom were able to move and make their home base College Station for her to be able to go to college early. And so she focuses on the kids who would have been 14 or younger when they started their academic careers at college. And she audited her first university class at UTA when she was 10 years old.
Oh my gosh.
It just makes you feel wildly inadequate.
feeling very below average at the moment.
I know. And so she was really fun to talk to, and we'll have a profile of her, but it's a big deal for the university. Noelle told me she would only think it was cool if she was like the youngest ever in the country or like the youngest woman ever to do it.
Yes,
but there are a couple of 17-year-olds in the country who have gotten their doctorates at 17.
My goodness.
I know. And so I asked if she felt like ready to enter the workforce. And she was like, well, she said that throughout college, there were these expectations that she was just like a miniature adult because she was so smart.
Right.
And then it would take people by surprise when she would do immature things or like ramble. And she's like, I have a totally normal social life. One of her childhood best friends started college at UNT early at 16.
Oh, wow.
And she's a graduating senior. So they did their senior photos together. The little graduation photos together. She lives with her boyfriend. She's, by all accounts, what you would expect a 19-year-old girl to be, but she just happens to have finished a doctoral degree in 3 years instead of 5.
And she did the dissertation, which is what trips a lot of people up in their doctoral programs.
Yeah, apparently her advisor was not okay with her accelerated schedule and said that she was pushing herself too hard. Wow. But then when she went to the head of the college and said, I would be the youngest ever graduate from UNT, it's a doctoral program. If you let me do this accelerated schedule, they're like, okay, well, if you think you can do it, that would be a great talking point for the university.
Yeah, indeed.
So she's pretty cool. I know you're also working on a profile of an interesting graduate.
Yes, I am. I recently interviewed a young artist named Horacio Casillas, and he got his master's. He just got his master's degree in visual arts and fine arts at University of North Texas. He also has inaugurated a brand new, obviously, artist in residency program at Grand Prairie.
Okay.
And this artist in residency program is actually part of the Parks and Recreation Department. Now, if you get around North Texas and you work in Grand Prairie, you might know that the city just opened a huge complex, a recreational complex, on November 17th or near that date. They have basically what I consider a water park under a retractable roof. And I think they call that Epic Waters.
Yeah.
But then there is the Grand Prairie Epic Center. And Casillas, as part of his residency, is working out of an art studio in this new recreation center. And all the Denton artists are going to get really jealous when they hear this. It's a studio space with floor-to-ceiling windows. So all of that,
natural light.
So much natural light. And it's a flexible space because, the folks in Grand Prairie are, they're anticipating that they're going to have painters, photographers. No, Casillas is a potter. He's a ceramist. Okay. And one of the things that he does, he does typical vessels, but he's a very devoted Catholic. And so he also makes holy water fonts for people's homes for home use. And
what a nice idea.
Yes. I mean, he's very, very devoted Catholic. Part of his residency is that he has a fully furnished apartment also at the rec center. And he let myself and Jeff Wu, the photographer, check out his apartment. It was totally outfitted by IKEA. So it's very modern. And it's very much sort of like a slick apartment. But as part of this residency, which as it turns out is a partnership with the University of North Texas College of Visual Arts and Design, he gets to live, without having to pay rent. And then he gets this studio space. And really what he's going to be doing is teaching workshops. And the studio is right there in this rec center. So as people are going upstairs to go around the indoor track, they see him in there working on the potter's wheel, and they're free to go in there and ask questions. He said that people have looked at him through the windows, but haven't come in and asked him too much at this point. But this is a really unique program, and Grand Prairie officials are saying that there is no other residency like this that is really kind of administered through a municipal spot. I don't know if
I haven't heard of anything
I haven't either.
Similar.
I haven't either. So I'm working on that, and I'm hoping to publish a story about that in January, like very soon in January. But he is an exemplary artist, and this is something that could serve as a recruitment tool for University of North Texas, because the thousands of people are going to be moving through that space, every week, every month. So very impressive program.
That's great. I love it. I think that one of the things is we get it as, normal Denton residents, you can kind of get annoyed by the influx and the flow of the students. Yes. And then also, even the square, I'm sure, is going to be chock full of people in their ceremonial robes and cords. And it's easy to just be like, oh, another cohort. But we really
don't walk through their pictures.
Yeah, don't ruin their pictures. But we really do have some really exceptional people here in town and doing exceptional things. But again, if you're planning on doing stuff Friday and Saturday, make sure you account for the traffic, make sure you account for the parking, make sure you're making reservations, because I didn't check, but I think traditionally the venues like Hannah's and Barley and Board and things like that get really, really full of graduates. So just be cognizant of that as you're going about your weekend. And,
like Jenna has said, the winter graduation is typically smaller, but the last graduation, I guess it was a Sunday morning, I went over to Royals Bagels to get some bagels, and they were slammed with recent graduates. So just be patient and just be ready for a little more traffic and a little bit of a wait at some of your favorite places. So.
Yeah, because combined it's about 5,000 students who are going to be celebrating this weekend and participating in the ceremonies. So that's cool. And then also we're getting closer to holidays, and I know you've been working on holiday lights.
Yes.
Fill us in.
Yes. Tomorrow, in the Denton Record-Chronicle, in the section called Denton Time, we have our 2018 guide to holiday lights in Denton.
Yay!
Now, please understand, this is not an exhaustive list, but we have found some really wonderful yards and some neighborhoods that just have a lot more lights than others. So that said, since this is going to be also posted online, and since tomorrow is the 13th, and we'll have a note in the story too. If you see this and you think, wait, my neighbor has a great yard and it's not in here, or hey, our yard, we just got all this done yesterday, feel free. We'll give you instructions. Feel free to send photographs or a photograph and your address to me with any details, like how many strings of lights. We will add it to the online slideshow. But I will tell you this, my city editor, Mark Finley, said today, hey, I think you might be doing something on holiday lights. And I said, what gave you that clue? He said, there seems like there are like 5,000 photos of houses with holiday lights. And I was like, oh, no, that's not mine. No. No, so that we're publishing that tomorrow.
And that's going to have a map too, right?
Yeah, we're working on an online map. It's not going to have a locator map in the print version.
Okay.
But we are working on an online map so that you can pull up our site and just kind of navigate without having to have the paper. We're fine with you having the paper with you in the car. But there's enough going on lights-wise that you can, put a thermos of hot chocolate in the car. And I think you tune the radio to 102.1 and listen to holiday music and just get out there and enjoy the twinkling lights.
I love it. Do you have any houses that really stood out to you?
Oh, yes. Yes, there is a house on Holly Hill.
Okay.
That is magnificent to behold. And I was also really, really respectful of how they merged the sacred with the secular, because I always call it a creche, but there's a nativity on the lawn, but they've got ascending reindeer. And I don't want to give too much away, but Santa does make an appearance, but it's a bigger house with some height, and they've got lights on the front of the house. And it's just, I can see little kids just oohing and awing over it. But there are several spots. There's a house over, I guess, really kind of not far from, I want to say, the University Bell intersection. It's on Chateau, and it's a really, really bright house in a neighborhood that doesn't have a whole lot of lights, but we thought it was worthwhile. So
they're the showstopper in the neighborhood.
And I mean, Forest Ridge and South Ridge, if you drive through those neighborhoods, you're going to see a lot of lights. In fact,
I've noticed that
the Women's Social Cycling Club had their annual ride through Forest Ridge yesterday, and they just ride through and look at lights because there are enough lights to make that happen in Forest Ridge Estates.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, we hope you guys get out and enjoy some holiday lights and are patient with our recent graduates this weekend. Yes. And we will see you guys next Wednesday. At 2 p.m. Here on DentonRadio.com on DRC Live.
DRC Live.
Okay, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com for new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at ClassicofDenton.com.